Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing a format we haven't actually touched in a while, and for no real good reason, other than the fact that Wizards have been pumping out alternative formats like Cube and things like that for the past couple of weeks. Today we're going to be playing some Brawl, Standard Brawl to be more specific, and we're going to be playing with Zareth San the Trickster. So this is a card that I have played in the past when Zendikar first came out. It did have a little bit of a problem in that the card draw available wasn't good enough. Since then, we've had Strixhaven and Kaldheim, so a lot of that has now become available to us, so we have a lot more to play with here. So, Zareth San the Trickster, 5 mana 4/4 with Flash. Whenever Zareth San deals combat damage to a player, you may put target permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So, our opponent's win con is our win con if we counter it along the way, which is what we're going to be doing. We're playing Draw, Go, Control. Usually when you see Zareth San, it's actually the commander for Rogue Tribal. For us, it's going to be Draw, Go, Control, and we're just going to try and win the game with our opponent's win cons. We do have a couple of our own, playing a aggressive tempo game, as it were. By aggressive, I mean aggressively making your opponent hate the game. We've got like Voracious Great Shark, which is a counter spell and a creature, just countering artifacts and creature spells here with Flash and a 5/4. Got Ashiok Nightmare Muse, which pumps out 2/3s. It also protects itself with the -3, bouncing a non-land permanent and making them exile a card from their hand, causing some card disadvantage, which is lovely. Plays into the need for us to draw lots of cards. We do have plenty of ways of doing that. We have snow-covered basics in our deck, as well as a snow-covered duel. So we can use Graven Lore from Kaldheim, a 5 mana snow instant to scry X, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell, and then you draw 3 cards. This card should probably win us the game when we cast it because of the sheer amount of card selection available, assuming that we're kind of on a level playing field, and that's pretty much what this deck is all about. It's all about resource denial, countering your opponent's permanents as they come down, and then when you're ready to drop a win con, like Zareth San, you're ready to go. And we can do this whenever we want as well. We can flash it in on our opponent's turn, which means we can hold open the removal and the counter magic that we have in our hand throughout the entire game. And if our opponent doesn't do anything worth removing or countering, we dump Zareth San down, and then hopefully hold open the counter magic to protect Zareth San while he pings your opponent and start stealing their permanents. It's really useful. It does have a 4 mana activation there, but it is, I think, completely useless for the most part, I guess, in this deck. You can return an unblocked attacking rogue to put Zareth San from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So we have a Brazen Borrow, which is a rogue, which can be unblocked, and that's nice, but Zareth San has to be in our hand for that to happen, so our opponent has to have bounced our own Zareth San, which, you know, is a long line of things that are unlikely to happen that leads to that 4 mana ability being useful. But it's there on the off chance that it is useful. We do also get Behold the Multiverse, which is a really nice solid card draw effect as well. And I think this deck should mostly speak for itself. It's really tilt-inducing for your opponent when we are winning. And I would say it's on the harder spectrum of decks to play as well. Since it is Draw, Go, Control, we don't produce many threats. We need our opponent to run out of threats, so it's really important to know what to counter, what to destroy, and what to leave on the battlefield and pinging you while you use your life total as a resource to hopefully get better value out of your removal down the line. So it's a little difficult to pilot. I'm sure I'll make a couple of mistakes along the way, piloting myself, because I haven't played it long enough to have mastered it. But it's very fun, anyway, if you are into control magic for sure. And yeah, without further ado, let's continue. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty, we're in, and I'd say this hand is perfectly acceptable. Being on the draw, I don't know, maybe less likely. And Drowning Lock's a bit awkward, but maybe our opponent can help us with that. Sublime Epiphany's not a card you want to draw right now. In Search of Greatness. So they have a Scry. Cool. I'm going to go with Saw It Coming here. I don't necessarily imagine I want to be killing whatever our opponent plays next turn, but if I don't get double blue, then I'll need a counter spell at some point. So they get to Scry. I'm curious to see if this ever does anything other than scrying for the rest of the game. Crawling Barrens and Replicating Ring. So that would allow them to put a 4-drop into play for free. That's quite likely to happen, so I think I'll just bounce the mana. Oops. If they want to, you know, just drop down a 4-drop, then that's them tapped out, and I'll kill it with a Baleful Mastery, because I'll draw a land. I'll definitely draw a land that I need to play the game. Replicating Ring. Or they could just replay it. It's also fine. And Dragon's Guard Elite. Sure. Told you. Very good at Magic the Gathering. So this is where they can play Vorinclex. So I pass the turn. Yep. Okay, let's see if they can put a... oh, is it a 4-drop into play for free here? That would suck. Well, unless it's a Solemn, in which case it's not so bad. If that's their best 4-drop, it's totally fine by me. So there's a land. Spirit of Aldergard. I'm gonna... probably see that coming. And I do really need a blue source, but it would come at the cost of neutralize cycling, and that seems real bad. That seems worse, admittedly. Much, much worse. Okay. So let's see if they can put a 5-drop into play for free with their 2 cards in hand. Don't you dare. I think they're scrying. Okay, thank God for that. No 5-drops. Use land. I'll have to Baleful Mastery the Vorinclex if they play it here. Foretelling a card in green. What do you foretell in green? Well, whatever it is, they're not playing it right now. Let's go with Erebus's Intervention X3. So they'll have to have 2 spell hand here, or like a Snakeskin Veil in order to stop this. Okay. Up to 26, and down to 24. Shadow's Verdict. Yeah, we're just gonna pass here. Missing our land drop sucks. Any 5-drops in that 1-card hand of yours? There wasn't any before, so a scry to the bottom is where we're at. Having Drowning Lock for Crawling Barrens is quite nice, so we can neutralize here. Could even steal a Spirit of Aldergard if our opponent attacks in. I don't know what this card is that foretells in green. I might just kill it. If I kill it, draw a land, then we have Sublime Epiphany open for it next time around. So let's draw a land. Not attacking. No. I don't know if I agree with that one, but here we are. Got Disdainful Stroke, that's quite nice. If we're not going to draw a land, at least having a counter for Vorinclex here is useful. So there's Vorinclex. Here's my Disdainful Stroke. Running out of answers. But hopefully we can, like, you know, get ahead. A land is where we want to be. Now we have the Sublime Epiphany. So I'm going to pass. This probably is the turn where I drop down my Zareth San, unless 5-drop is now being drawn. It's been a lot of bottoming. I still don't know what this card is that's for telling in green. I don't think there are many playables, right? Alright, so here we go. We're going to counter Vorinclex, bounce their Replicating Ring, and draw a card. That should keep Vorinclex well and truly out of this game for a long time. Eliminate for Crawling Barrens is also very nice. Faceless Haven as well, as an attacking creature. Very useful, and I think we've turned the corner for the win now. Short of our opponent drawing something extremely good, which they just topped. Cultivate. Don't care. Forest, of course. Oh, there is a wolf that you foretell that draws you a card. Seraph something, I think it's called. Alright, here we go. In comes Zareth San. Could kill Solemn. If I do that, I get access to Solemn. They're probably just going to block with it anyway, so I'm not going to open up my removal that I could use on Crawling Barrens for it, I don't think. Yep, so you draw a card. They're back down to putting 4-drops into play with In Search of Greatness. Counters on Barrens, but we have the answer to it. In multiple ways, actually, which is nice. To the top again. Opponent's drawing like a beast. Sanctum. So I'm probably just going to take Solemn. I think that's my plan anyway. Now let's go with the Brazen Borrower here. We're going to be killing Crawling Barrens with an Eliminate, no doubt. Land drop is nice. So we send it in. Opponent suits up the Barrens. We kill the Barrens. We have counter magic in case our opponent has like a Snakeskin Veil. Should be in their deck. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. I cannot counter that. Unless I went with another Baleful Mastery, which I can still hold up and drown in the lock with. Just sadly I can't steal the Crawling Barrens, which I think would have been really nice, but our opponents had enough. They just paid 5 mana to do nothing. And that should do it. Yeah, we exile it so that we don't get to keep it. I think that would have been my pick over Solemn, honestly, but we do have a Faithful Haven, so maybe not. I do like the idea of thinning our deck and getting a land drop that eventually draws us a card along the way. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, though, In Search of Greatness did nothing, which is what we expected it to do, and we're on to the next one. Okay, we play first. We have Negate and to Neutralize, and the mana to do it. A little bit of removal would have been nice, but And we'll keep this one. The question is, do we play Seagate Restoration tapped here to make sure that we've got our land drops? Is this the kind of matchup where making every single land drop is going to matter? If this was a black source, I would probably say yes, so we have Blood on the Snow available. In this situation, I don't think we're in really a huge rush to do this, and we could probably pay 3 life against this deck if we really feel the need to. Now that's a question, do I want to hold up a negate on turn 2? Probably not. So let's go tap land there. Our opponent, by the way, is on Yasharn, Implacable Earth, 4 mana Selesnya 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you search your library for a basic forest and a basic plains. Reveal them and put them to your hand. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. It's a thing. Alright, I think Neutralize being held up in here is exactly where I want to be. Countering a Lovestruck Beast on 3, though, maybe not so much. Any removal spell for that 1/1 will shut down the beast, and we're not terribly interested in getting combat damage in. It's hard to say, to be honest, because our follow-up isn't really there, and there's no guarantee that we can kill the beast. So either way, I think we're relying on our top decks, so let's just make sure that we've bought ourselves a little bit of time, I guess. Snow-covered swamp, go. Next turn we've got Great Shark or Zareth-san, followed by Blood on the Snow. Elspeth! Haha! Negate was useful. That was pretty good. Alright, another snow-covered island, and then pass the turn. Counter artifact or creature spell here. That's definitely a solid card to counter. It's also a solid one to steal with Zareth-san. And we're in a nice aggressive position here. Opponent is jump blocking the 5/4, which leaves less for Zareth-san to have to block. We've got board wipe value, we've got end step Vantress value, we've got Zareth-san flash value. Don't care about you. Might care about the follow-up here, but... So, Zareth-san could come down. If Zareth-san comes down, it's trading with Yasharn. I'll go with maybe Seagate Restoration next turn. Draw some cards. One, two, three, four, five. We can get Zareth-san back if we Blood on the Snow. Yeah, I think I'll just flash it in. So, a draw 3 for 7 mana is not too great when we can actually just omen into something good. Hit you for 5. They can't really afford to block while I have Zareth-san because they need something that trades. So Yasharn getting a block in there doesn't really seem ideal to them, I'm guessing. Let's go with an Omen. Heartless Act. Maybe I should have led with the Omen. I'm certainly going to take Heartless Act. We have a lose 4 with a Lochthwain here, maybe? But slight concern over our opponent's follow-up play here. If they want to ruin the game with Ugin the Spirit Dragon, they can certainly do it. Basri's Lieutenant can put a counter on a creature, which means that we can't kill it with the Heartless Act unless we respond to this. And this also has protection from multicolored, so, I mean, they've just made the greatest target of all time. Any protection? Nope. So that would have been able to indefinitely block Zareth-san. Felidar retreat is a problem. I think we intervention, swing. Opponent blocks with Lotus Cobra. It's kind of annoying that we don't have multiple plays, though. Maybe this is just the turn where I get in with the Great Shark. Well, it finally blocks. Interesting. I guess they want it for the basic landfall with the Felidar retreat. I'm just gonna draw 3. These are solid cards. Extinction Event on evens gets rid of all the tokens and leaves my Zareth-san around. Gets rid of Yasharn and Lotus Cobra as well. So once we do that, we can go maybe Scoot Swarm? Start doing our own land drops. Anything that plays is going to die. They need to play an odd here or they're in big trouble. That's an even. Yep, alright. Extinction Event. Actually absurd. They could play a 1-drop. But they're not gonna. So, everything's even. Big oof there. Can this deal combat damage to a Planeswalker and still trigger? Apparently it's not relevant. Yeah, from here we hit them, we take Scoot Swarm, we make our land drop, which triggers Scoot Swarm, making Scoot Swarms. Then we're not so fussed about Felidar retreat as much. We got Blood on the Snow to clean up whenever we want as well. And Erebos's intervention can pick them apart from there. I don't know who we take. Maybe Basri's Lieutenant making Zareth-san a 5/5 so they can't be blocked by Yasharn might be a thing. 4 cards in the yard as well means that Yasharn gets countered, so no basics from them to guarantee the Felidar retreat. Although they get a cast trigger, I think, off of the -2 here if they wanted to, so they could get a 4-drop and a 3-drop. So they're at least putting a creature in line, but we have the answer with the intervention there, and Drowning Lock. Or even Didn't Say Please. It's all exactly what we need to win the game, so on to the next one. Uh-oh. This is our worst matchup by a country mile, I would say. An uncounterable commander. We're going to keep this one, though. Early game, Maze Mind Tomes and Midnight Clocks allow us to draw answers to the Coma. We can do Exile-based, and we've got plenty to do there on that as well. So 3 and Simic 4 mana for an uncounterable 6/6. And at the beginning of each upkeep, you create a 3/3 Serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. And then you can sacrifice another Serpent to tap a permanent, and it can't be activated, or give Coma Indestructible to get around destroy effects. We have Brazen Borrower to kind of slow them down a little bit. The turn it comes down, we can boop it right back up. I'm not interested in scrying here, considering I have plenty of land drops to play around with. We're going to go with the Midnight Clock, though, see if we can get a negate out of our opponent. Otherwise, this, again, advances our board. Lacking double black. Unsubstantiate, sure. Maybe we want to scry for a swamp, though. That could be okay. Yeah, I'll scry for a swamp. Negates. Our opponent's probably playing a tempo kind of list, so a negate is pretty useful. It doesn't keep the Midnight Clock in play, but it'll be a useful card in this matchup. I have little doubt about that. And if we get to resolve Midnight Clock here, it means we get to hold up in the negate. Draw a card, or even Brazen Borrower. So we have lots of options here, and a Zareth-san can end step. If they bounce the clock, they'll probably they'll probably negate it. Like, they'll use a Brazen Borrow, we get rid of a 3-1 flyer at that rate. Yeah, I think having a mana advantage over our opponent is probably worth the negate getting used there. Though it does mean that we can't really drop down our Zareth San unless we do it now. And 3, 4, 5... I'm not going to be able to draw anything relevant. If I want a Zareth San here, Brazen Borrowing the Cosmos Elixir is totally fine for a turn. In my books. Let's go with the Faceless Haven. Draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, gain 2. So if I attack them, I wouldn't have to worry. I'm actually going to play Zareth San here main while they can't counter. I can bounce whatever they play to block, and then I'll take them under Cosmos Elixir, I guess. One's got a Scoot Swarm. And a land. Could Shadow's Verdict off of a Swamp top deck. Otherwise, these tokens are going to be pretty annoying. Stern Dismissal. Alright, our opponent's had it all. Let's put it back in hand. So now they get to draw a card. Tuari's Disruption's not what we're looking for here. 6 or more lands. I mean, with a Shadow's Verdict, I only have to resolve it, and then I'm in a good spot. Probably should have... yeah, punished. Should have drawn before I made my land drop. Still gonna play Zareth under the counter magic here. But I'm in a lot worse position now. Omen of the Sea. Second Disruption, a counterspell if they didn't have a land drop there. Otherwise, I'm probably just dead to a counterspell now. Aggro Mauling's not going to do it for me. Yeah, I mean, if their answer is Rewind, we can get them. Is your answer Rewind? Oh. I didn't even know about Memory Drain. That'll do. Goodbye, Scoot Squam. Send it in for 4. Put them to 23, so they're back to gaining life. Take the Fable Passage, for sure. So we can make our land drops every turn, and we can draw with Maze Mind Tome, bounce with Brazen Borrower. Got options. If they went land coma, I just bounce. Put the Fable Passage in their graveyard, so the Zareth San has an option again. Magic Mirror. Wowee. Alright, let's make them cast that again. That's the thing I would love to destroy. Gonna get some more swamps, we've got plenty of islands here. Whoop. Back to your hand. Drown in the Lock, 5 cards. A little far away from countering a Magic Mirror, admittedly. That's a card we want. Hit you for 4. Make a land drop. Pass the turn. Almost at Midnight Clock getting us a brand new 7-card hand as well. which we're close to needing. Opponent cultivates. That is fine. I guess what they want is Coma plus counter to play around exile spells. There's Magic Mirror again. This time we can't do much about that. As much as I would love to be able to destroy it, I think our only answer is Feed the Swarm, and I think that exiles. And also hits us for a metric ton, but it would win us the game if we had it in play. So we're going to go Brazen Borrower. Keep that Cosmos Elixir a million miles away from drawing another card. Draw the Baleful Mastery. Make sure that we've got a card in the yard for Zareth Sand's attack. Let's grab a little bit more blue. Send it. We can get it with the Haven, but I don't know. I like the idea of having a lot of mana here. This Midnight Clock's going to be very useful. I just don't know when we were planning on cracking the tome, though. Next turn, on our upkeep, we get a 7-card hand. So what can our opponent do about that? Maze Mine Tome, that's fine. Well, it's just passing. The bottom of our deck is unknown. So let's just thin now so we don't draw more lands. I want answers, not lands. I don't think there's any value in getting the 7-card hand now. We are eventually going to get buried by Magic Mirror, though. And there is nothing we can do about that. So, trigger Midnight Clock. We're going to upkeep stop so we can float the mana, because it could be relevant. Once we got another 7-card hand, then we can use this mana at least to Maze Mine Tome draw. Right, well now I could use it to put a counter on in response. So it goes, Brazen Borrower fizzles. You want to fight over it a bit more? Nope. Okay, so exile Midnight Clock, we get a brand new 7-card hand. Please be good. It's fine. It's not ideal. But it has a counter spell, it has a Graven Law. I could steal Brazen Borrower now. Which, you know, making my land drop here is losing value as time goes by, of course. Once you've got near infinite mana, it's not really going to matter if you've got near infinite mana plus 1. But a 3-1 on the other hand, that could be useful. We do want to close out this game sometime this year. Yeah, pass the turn. They want to Omen, do their Maze Mine Toming, all of those shenanigans. Draw 2. Yeah, I mean, this is getting to that time where we get buried under Magic Mirror. Let's see if we can find an answer to this. Exile-based removal, basically, with counter backup. We want to do it before... Actually, I should have cracked the Fabled Passage first. It made very little difference, but difference nonetheless. Hey, Baleful Mastery, okay. Land definitely to the bottom. So now we have a card that they'll want to fight over, and we've got Neutralize and Jwari's Disruption. We could probably just disrupt their card here. I can't imagine they've got a 1-mana counterspell. So we can do the 4-mana Mastery with Disruption open. Clearly they're making the Coma play to stop taking damage most of all, but also because they have this counterspell. Counter unless I pay 3. Counter unless you pay 1. Who's more reasonable now? Oh, baby. That was our worst matchup. I would say that was pretty dominant. And it just goes to show as well, like, even if Zareth just has, like, 1 target, if that target is reasonably good, then you still get to gain so much value from it that your opponents usually win the game. Lose the game, sorry. Like, we made Zareth grab 3 lands and a Brazen Borrower, and that was enough to close out this game. And all we had to do was kind of just control what our opponent was doing along the way, beating them down with Brazen Borrowers. It was just... it's pretty solid indeed. It would have been nice if we could have gotten rid of the Magic Mirror, but if we could have owned it, that would be lovely. This thing is pretty insane in our deck, I guess. But I don't know if it's the card that we want in our deck, necessarily. You want a lot of drawing and discarding kind of effects that put instants and sorceries in the yard. Ours, we're trying to react, not be proactive, so Magic Mirror is kind of a weird one. I used to have it in the Will and Rowan Royal Scions list. You would always win the game when Magic Mirror came down, because it would come down for 3 mana, and it's pretty dope. But yeah, anyway though guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and without further ado, I'm going to end it here. Take care, and good night.